40 years ago, missionaries from Eastern Mennonite missions first arrived in the mountains of Guatemala to minister among the Quechua people. The Quechua, who are of Mayan ancestry, are an indigenous, animistic people with their own language and culture. Over these 40 years, hope and life in Jesus have spread to Quechua towns and villages across the country. My husband and I have lived among the Quechua in Guatemala for 17 years, supporting the Quechua church and walking with the church leaders as they reach out to surrounding areas. There are now more than 10,000 believers in 120 congregations. One area called Calbon had remained closed to the gospel for decades. 4 years ago, we took a prayer team to Calbon and began to specifically pray concerning whatever might be hindering the gospel. As we and the church continued to pray for that region, God was also working among others. A man named Tomas, who is a member of the Chico Mennonite Church, had been faithfully sowing seeds for 25 years. As a traveling salesman, he visited many of the villages in Calbon, building relationships and sharing the gospel as he went. However, just as with other people's efforts to reach Calbon, Tomas saw few results. At last, in 2009, Tomas told his pastor that they must go to Calbon because people wanted to hear the gospel. We learned that the mayor of Calbon had become a Christian and he was inviting pastors to preach on his radio station. People were beginning to hear the gospel. The villages were open. Now, Tomas's church, the Mennonite Church in Chico, is sending people on the half-day bus trip to a village in Calbon every other week to encourage a small group of believers. But the good news is not stopping there. In April 2010, when the brothers from Chico were heading out to Calbon, some people met them on the path. They were from a nearby village called Nueva Esperanza, and they told the believers, "You must come to our village. We want you to have a service in our home." So they arranged a time and went. 6 people believed that same night. In the months since the first visit, the group in Nueva Esperanza has grown to more than 20 believers. They're sharing their faith with neighbors and praying for the sick. Now, this small group in Calbon sometimes goes to Nueva Esperanza, and sometimes Nueva Esperanza goes to Calbon. In the months and years ahead, we believe that churches will grow up in both villages and in many other surrounding villages. The fields are ripe, ready for harvest. Pray with us that the Lord of the harvest would send workers. Planting churches in Guatemala is one more way the Eastern Mennonite Missions is, together with Christ, transforming the world.